time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show brings you famous celebrities and amazing people from all over the world. Listen online at themikewagnershow.com and on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeart Radio. And watch the interview on YouTube. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking a budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Evan Fine of the Senior Reserve Group. When you start thinking about retirement, who you can call about Medicare? Why call the best? Evan Fine of Senior Reserve Group, specializing in Medicare, health, and long-term care insurance. Evan can be reached at 1-800-650-9357. That's 1-800-650-9357. Or email to evanfine@seniorreservegroup.com. Evan is licensed in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, South Carolina, and Florida. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can also check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can also download and listen on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeart Radio, and also watch the interview on YouTube as well. We're here with a very wonderful lady who is the co-founder of Premier Networks, hosts Social Network, Our Place. She's also a podcaster and directed some documentaries, including family bands about the Cowsills Stories, and writer, producer, director, comedian, filmmaker, and photographer, also songwriter and a drummer. So the best way to keep busy, I guess she'll just tell you more about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very unique lady who knows how to combine everything into one, put in a podcast, put everything in a nutshell, and lives to tell a great story. Ladies and gentlemen, Louise Palanker. Louise, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Mike. It's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, you're a co-founder of Premier Networks, and you're also the host of Our Place Social Network. You're also a podcaster, and you also did a documentary on the Cowsills, and also writer, producer, director, comedian, filmmaker, photographer, songwriter, drummer, and more. And before we get to some of your works, tell us how you got started in show business.
Well, it was a pretty typical story of a kid growing up on the East Coast in the suburbs of Buffalo and graduating college and moving west in hopes of entering the entertainment field, getting a job as a page. So a page is someone who wears an unattractive polyester uniform and a name tag. And what you do is you kind of usher live studio audiences into sound stages for TV tapings. And that was what I was led to believe was the entry-level position for show business. So that's the route I took in it, and it worked for me.
That is amazing as well, too. And you also the author of a semi-autobiographical coming-of-age story, Journals, Middle School Love, and War. You can also tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, let's see, where does that story begin? So my dad fought in World War II. And he kept a journal, and he also had like a little brownie camera with him, and he took photographs. So he was in the Normandy invasion and the Battle of the Bulge, and he was really in the thick of the fight. He was an anti-aircraft gunner. And all of my childhood life, my dad had told me that he had kept a journal, but that I wasn't old enough yet to read it because my father had liberated a concentration camp and seen some things that he didn't feel comfortable telling children about. But then time moved on, and I moved out west, and my dad passed away at the young age of 68. And I had not seen the journal, and I did not know where he kept it. So one Thanksgiving, I sort of said to my family, all right, the mission is we're going in, and we're going to be coming out with Dad's journal. So we took everything apart, and I was able to find the journal, and I wanted to write about it, but I felt like I didn't know enough about World War II to write about his experiences. So I decided to write the story from the point of view of, imagine if at age 11 I had found his journal and was reading it secretly. So I kind of wrote a fictional version of me. I called her Lainey, and she's like a little kid growing up in 1969 suburban Buffalo, and she's writing in her own journal, and then she finds her father's journal, and it gives her some perspective on life, because her father was not that much older than her at that time. You've got this 18-year-old kid fighting World War II, and we asked kids to fight these wars, and so my father had these experiences, and he was such a heroic person, but he was so quiet about it. He didn't really speak about it, and so this kind of gives the girl in the book a different view of her father.
That is amazing too, and of course with the upbringing and everything else as well too. And you also began a kids comedy club in Los Angeles with some of your ventures as well too. And we'll get to your podcast as well too. And I'd like to hear about starting a kids comedy club in LA. And I've got some comedians myself and my family.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do. Yeah. One is a physical, and the other just uses his brain. I'll tell you that. And the other just plays in song, and the other just draws. It's almost like just having humor and comedy, and this is almost like having our own version of Monty Python's Flying Circus, but it's a tame American version. I'll tell you that. And my wife is just, likes to crack jokes as well too in a nice way. So,
well, I mean, humor is therapeutic in pretty much every situation. And so I began doing stand-up comedy in probably around the year 2000. I was at Premiere, and one of the things that I would do is I would go down to the Laugh Factory Comedy Club, and I would record the comedians. And we had a little mini feature that we sent out to radio stations called the Laugh Factory Minute. Mm-hmm. So I would record comedians and get to know the comedians. And then one day the owner of the club, kind of was sort of harassing me, because like every Christmas he gave out like a cool jacket or whatever, and he would be like, you don't get a jacket until you get on stage. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go earn my jacket. So I mean, I've been a comedy writer all of my adult life in my career at Premier Radio. We create comedy bits and send them out to radio stations. Like one of the things that Premier did was we would create like a whole package of material that a morning show would use, because they have to fill up 4 hours of airtime every morning, getting up at the crack of even before dawn, right? Mm-hmm. And so then they'd get this package from us, and it would have parody songs and parody commercials and running characters and interactive scripts where they could interact with a funny character that had called up, or what have you, all kinds of stuff. And we would write jokes every day, like Jay Leno style, Johnny Carson style jokes, and we would fax them. This was the technology back when I was at Premiere. But mm-hmm. So I knew how to write jokes, but I hadn't done a lot of performing other than performing on the little bits that we create in the studio. But Jamie Masada, the owner of the Laugh Factory, he got me up on stage. I earned my jacket, and then he had a program where he taught stand-up comedy to underprivileged kids, and that is where I learned the value of teaching this craft to young people, because not only does it give them self-esteem and a sense of never ever again having to be afraid of public speaking, but also it really is. It more than kind of enhances creative thinking and just being able to appreciate absurdities and ironies, or even things in life that are unpleasant. You turn them into a joke, and suddenly you own it. So I started a program at the Boys and Girls Clubs in Los Angeles, and now I live. Half the week I live in Santa Barbara with my husband, so I kind of moved the program up to Santa Barbara, and I've been teaching it there since, I want to say since like 2005, something like that, 2006. But the kids get to open for professional comedians a few times a year. We put on a show where I bring up comedians from LA, and then the kids get to open and learn from those comedians. And so it's been a lot of fun, very, very very interesting.
It sounds amazing, too. And who are some of the comedians that you've had on while the kids opened up for?
Well, let's see, like all my friends, like Taylor Williamson, Jackie Cation, Carol Sultanovich, Sean Polofsky. I have it's like you have to hang with these people all day because I drive them up to Santa Barbara with me. So it's always people that I love that I would want to hang out with anyway.
Yeah, that sounds like it as well, too. So we'll get some more of some of your works as well, too, how you found Premier Networks, some of your podcasts and everything else. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com. Looking for a professional website without breaking a budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Evan Fine of the Senior Reserve Group. When you start a business or own a business for a while, who you call for sole proprietorship insurance? Why not call the expert, Evan Fine of Senior Reserve Group? He also specializes in Medicare and long-term care insurance. Evan can be reached at 1-800-650-9357. That's 1-800-650-9357 or evanfine@seniorreservegroup.com. Licensed in 7 states in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, South Carolina, and Florida. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. Also, check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, and also watch the interview on YouTube as well. We're here with podcaster and co-founder of Premier Networks, Louise Palanker. She also hosts of social network Our Place, and she also did the Cowsills documentary Story, and also got a weekly podcast, which was one point, Weezy and the Swish.com. And, of course, we also going to be talking about one as well, too. But, talking about Premier Networks, and tell us a story about how Premier Networks, how you guys found and came to be, which is now part of iHeartMedia.
I was writing the Ricky's Weekly Top 40 at KISS FM in Los Angeles, and I had become friendly with a few of the disc jockeys at KISS FM because that's where we did the show with Rick. And I started talking with a disc jockey named Tim Kelly, who did nights. And there was an afternoon guy there named Big Ron O'Brien. What he used to do every Friday afternoon is he used to put together a top 40 countdown. And what he would do is he would gather interviews from people that had come up to see the station. So he would record interviews, and every Friday he would put together a little piece of information about the artists in the top 40, and he would deliver that information and sometimes an interview soundbite from the artist, and he would talk it right up to the vocal, because Big Ron was pro. And it was a great sounding show. So you got to hear from Huey Lewis and Bruce Hornsby and Gloria Stefan, whoever was on the charts, you got to hear from. And Big Ron was just a great jock. And Tim had the idea that we could create materials for the same type of show and make that available to disc jockeys across the country. So Big Ron had access to all those artists, but not everybody does. And so we could take those sound bites and write a script, and then every week send out a script and the sound bites and all the instructions that the disc jockey would need to create his own Friday afternoon or weekend countdown show hosted by himself. So it was a kind of a new concept in syndicated radio that rather than replacing an air shift, which is what Casey Kasem did, it would enhance an air shift. You get to use your own talent. They host the show. And Tim and I launched that. We didn't have a name for the company. We called it the Plane Wrap Countdown because we figured that in every market they would name the countdown whatever they wanted to name it. And one of the our fellow disc jockeys at KISS FM was a gentleman named Steve Lehman. He was already syndicating something that he called a mini feature called National Lampoon's True Facts. And he was working with the guys at National Lampoon. He liked what we were doing. He partnered with us, and we created Premier Radio Network.